evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Circle Track Chatter. It's Monday evening, August the 19th. Joined as always by the legendary Rob Young. Good evening, Rob. How are you tonight?
Not bad, Craig. Sorry I missed you. A little bit of a rain out this past weekend, but good to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you enjoy your weekend away from the track? Did you find something else interesting to do?
Yeah, yes, but it was a little boring. But every now and again, it's nice to have a bit of a break, I guess. But I sure wish I could have been. We could have gone racing, but that wasn't the case.
Nope, absolutely. I mean, that's just part of it. It's if you're going to be a race fan, obviously it's an outdoor sport, so sometimes it's going to rain out, sometimes it's not, but it's not the end of the world. We'll get it all back together and get back out there this coming Saturday. What do you think of that?
Yep, looks like weather looks pretty good for this weekend.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, Circle Track Chatters is presented by the Wiltons again this week, and this week we're going to be talking to a go-kart driver. We're talking to the driver of the 33D. He's running in the Trophy Clone and the Pro Clone class out at Route 1 Raceway and does some racing in Oshweek as well. We'll talk to him a little bit about that, but it's going to be Kaleb Dyck we're talking to tonight. What do you think of Kaleb in the opening here, Rob?
He's I've watched him for a couple of years. Good little go-kart racer, and of course he's surrounded by all kinds of talent. He helps out Joel Dick, and I've seen him bumping shoulders with Tim Richardson, and of course he helps Jake as well. So he's again surrounded himself with the right people. He can learn a lot from them, and he's 22 years old, so he's at a great age to be starting out in go-karts, and I'm sure that he'll want to move up one of these days. But yeah, we're gonna find all that out when we get to talk to him.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We're gonna bring him in here. Looking forward to this one. Actually, he's one of the more interesting personalities we have in the pit area, I guess is the best way to say that. So we're gonna have some fun. We have a lot of fun with him though, and he's obviously very passionate. So let's get Kaleb Dyck in here and let's hear what he has to say about all this stuff. There he is. Hi, Kaleb. Welcome to Circle Track Chatter. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing very well. What's going on over there? What's new and exciting? What are you looking forward to here for tonight?
Oh, we just had a rain out this weekend, so we got some work done in the shop, and now we're just talking to you guys.
Absolutely. Well, to be quite honest with you, I don't know. I've just kind of come along into your life, I guess, the last few years. So I don't know a whole lot about you, but I'm hoping that you got lots of stories you can tell us because you got your hands in just about everything. I think you were pretty well born with a wrench in your hand type of thing, and so we're gonna get some stories going here. You got anything you want to start with in the opening here?
No, let's just get her going.
All right. Well, why don't you kind of tell us what it was like growing up for you, how you got into racing, and how you come to be where you are to now?
So this picture right here is at my dad's enduro car. He raced that one for a year at Buxton and a year at Delaware. The class one went at Buxton, so he moved to Delaware, the asphalt. And that was my first experience around racing. I think I was 2 or 3 years old when he started, so it's just been my whole life. So.
And you were out in the shop there helping Dad. You're wrenching on the car right in the car seat type of thing, right?
Pretty much, my dad put me in my car seat and threw me in the car, and well, here's working. So I've been in there my whole life.
That's awesome, Rob. Do you have any questions about that?
Well, Adam, I know your dad. You said your dad Adam raced in the enduro division, and that's a GTO, Pontiac GTO, and that's your sister Autumn right beside you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my little kids.
Yeah, so she's not you said she's not a race fan, but she's there to support you all the way. So that's pretty cool to have your sister there, and good way to get started. So other than that, that was your first introduction to stock car racing, and then of course you went on from there to what. I mean, I know we're going to talk about this later, but what got you into go-kart racing?
It was actually funny. I wasn't that really interested for the longest time, and then I started going to help my buddy Kyle and Travis. And then I was flagging there one night, helping Spencer out because they were short of flagger. And my buddy Kyle said, "Hop in, take her for a few laps," and that was really what I know I wanted to do that right after that. So
yep, got the bug. Okay, turn it back over to you, Craig.
Yeah, we'll get to the go-kart racing a little bit later on, but I'd kind of like to know what's it like growing up with going from this track to that track and growing up being so young, especially because it comes a family thing with your sister and everything like that. What is it actually like growing up at it around the track, in the shop, whatever, going from here, there, and everywhere? What's that experience like for you?
Well, I really never knew any different, so that was just normal to me. But it was always cool to experience new things all the time and go around all the racetracks, meet all kinds of cool people and stuff. So, yeah, I really never known anything different. So that's just been my whole life. So,
Oh, perfect. All right. So obviously, talking about being young and hanging around the track, what other kind of stuff did you have your mitts in there? I assume you got along with a lot of different people, met different people. What other experiences did you have working around the track?
well, my stepdad Steve Clement started racing when I was, I think, 9 or 10. So I was always helping him in the shop, and my uncle Lewis, of course, too. And just I've met all kinds of people throughout the years, and then I started helping Joel when I was 19 or 18 or 19. That's when I really started getting really involved in the racing. Before I kind of just dabbled here and there, but when I started helping Joel, that's when I really got into racing hard.
Very good. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, I mentioned that I knew that you'd helped out with Joel and but also Lewis Clements. There's a real a guy who can really drive a modified. Well, just about anything, everything I've ever seen him in, he's been really good. So both him and his brother Steve, those two guys, you've got some really good people to learn from that. When that day comes for you to jump into a stock car, you got so many people that can help you. What an asset that is to have all that. So
Yeah, I'm surrounded by a lot of good people around the racing community. So
yeah,
a lot of people on my side, that's for sure.
that's good. I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
So you just kind of take a little bit of information from here, there, and everywhere, and you bring a wealth of knowledge over to Joel. Was it when you're kind of helping out with all that stuff? Is there like an interview process? Is Joel kind of critiquing everything that you're doing, or is it just like, hey man, I know what I'm doing, I'm just jumping in to help?
No, Joel's pretty anal, so he makes sure that he makes sure I know what I'm doing. So he doesn't want nothing being messed around. So he's pretty anal with that kind of stuff.
For sure. So some point, I guess you decide that you want to try a little bit of racing yourself, and you're looking at doing some of that boxcar racing, I guess, and that sort of stuff. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. Yeah, I actually started racing those when I was, I think, 5 or 6. Some guy won it in a raffle and didn't have any kids, so he donated it to me, and then I guess I forgot I actually raced those. Yeah, we travel all across Chatham, Kent, and Essex County, racing those, all the local fairs and stuff. We actually won a lot of trophies in that, so that was fun times doing that.
That boxcar racing, that's pretty serious business. I know I had some family members that did that, and they're not messing around. They're very competitive, and they're up on all the stuff that they need to do to make them things go faster. What do you think of that?
We got a fast cart. That wedge cart is a fast body. So we actually had, I don't know if I'm against the rule, but we actually had 200 pounds of weight behind my seat. So when we're going downhill, there's 200 pounds plus me plus the cart, just flying down that ramp as fast as we could. And all we had for a brake was a lever against the tire. So
So you make sure that you're hoping that your mechanical skills are working out for you when you pull that lever, right?
yeah, that picture on the left there, that was at the Cumsey Fair. We did that race. I think we got second or third, and they wanted us to go down the ramp and see how far we could make it around the whole entire track. And I had made it around the whole track and won that trophy for that division.
Nice, nice. So were you pretty successful in all that? Did you pull out a lot of wins, or is it like I said?
Yeah, we had a decent amount of wins in that. That was like fun times. Yeah.
Okay, Rob, do you have any questions about that?
That's pretty interesting. Quite a mix of different racing with the soapbox derby car and go karts and whatnot. But yeah, that's a pretty neat way to get introduced to racing. You don't have to worry about motors or anything like that, and just everything you do to try and make it go faster. I'm sure air pressure comes into effect, and noticing the rubber tires, and yeah, I could just imagine. I think I get right into that, trying to figure out how to make that thing run.
Yeah, I started doing that when I was 5, and that's when I met Tato O'Leary and Kaleb. I raced against them my whole childhood too.
Cool. Oh, yeah. There's another guy you can bump shoulders with. Wow. I'm learning a lot here. So I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
Yeah, and so just going about more about this boxcar box Serby, this racing here that we're talking about. Sorry,
Soapbox racing, I call it.
Soapbox Derby. Sorry about that. Can you, for anybody that may not know exactly how it works, can you kind of explain how it all comes together for you?
Yeah, definitely. They have this big ramp here. It's probably, I don't know, 30, 40 feet, and they lift you up with a forklift up to the very top. They put you on a slope, and they have a lever that blocks your cart from rolling down the hill. And then they let it go, and then I think it's 100 meters they go, and whoever makes it down the fastest at the end of the 100 meters wins the race, and then it just goes on like a bracket almost. They do it. It goes by time too, so.
Do they have pretty strict rules for that? I know you said earlier you're like 200 pounds behind you or whatever. Do they weigh them and all that, or is it just kind of the best wins?
I never got weighed, so if I did, we wouldn't have won a lot of races. So.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So anything else growing up racing wise? Did you do any other type of racing before you kind of got into the wrenching stuff?
No, I stopped doing that when I was, I think, 11 or 12, and then it was 10 years almost till I got in a go-kart. So
you had a little bit of a mechanical. Well, I mean, that's not the worst thing to kind of talk. Yeah, we're going to talk about Joel here in a little bit that you mentioned earlier, but that's not the worst thing in the world to have all that experience coming into the go-kart stuff. But talking about Joel Dyck, talk about working with Joel and how all that came about, and Tim Richardson.
yeah, I helped Joel a little bit here and there when I was in my teen years, and then my grandpa and Joel's dad were really good friends. So Tom kind of invited me out after COVID, and then I kind of never left. So.
So you're kind of a mechanic. You're kind of a PR person. You're walking around with the camera and you're doing all the videos and the pictures and things like that. You're just kind of the do everything guy.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like to do a lot of stuff. So I like to be out there, and we got a lot of sponsors, so we got to promote them as much as we can. So that helps a lot with the social media.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, as I said, he sure is surrounding himself with some good people with a lot of knowledge. Both Joel and Tom Dick know their stuff, and yeah, it's pretty. That's what you want to do if you want to be successful at that. Whether it's go karts or stock cars, just hang out with the people who are being successful. That's how you do it. So anyway, turn it back over to you, Craig.
Now, do you do a lot of traveling? Because I know Joel did a lot of racing in the States. Do you do a lot of traveling with him as well?
Well, I never really started helping him until after he kind of slowed down with the traveling. So I've been Schwegen with him and Brighton and Merrittville, all that kind of stuff around Ontario. But he hasn't really gone stateside since before COVID. So I didn't get to experience that part of his career.
Okay, and what about Tim Richardson? Like, how did you kind of get involved with all that and helping them guys as well?
Well, Tim and Joel are best friends, so, and then me and Tim are pretty close friends now, so just through Joel, so that's where I met Tim at.
And then you're also wrenching on Jake Hooker's car down there a little bit as well, correct?
Yeah, I've known Jake. Yeah, I help Jake when I can, obviously. Not all the time. I like to, but yeah, my dad, stepdad Steve used to race against Steve when Jake just started, so that's where I met Jake through. I know him for a long time too.
Okay. Rob, do you have any questions about any of that?
Did Joel ever do any go-kart racing, Caleb?
Joel raced road course in Leamington.
Oh, so the asphalt stuff.
The asphalt stuff, yeah. I'm not interested in that stuff, that's
for
sure.
Well, that's right. Like, he's probably a stone's throw away from for the track there in Leamington. So I could see where that could be quite an interesting thing for him. But
yeah, the back of Tom's property actually backs up onto the go-kart track. So
no, that's pretty neat. I didn't know that either. All right, turn it back over to you, Craig.
Have you had a chance to get into the modified? Have you had it on the track at all, or kind of ripping it around the farm there, or whenever?
I haven't, but Joel's kind of mentioned it here and there last couple of weeks, so I'm hoping to get my shot soon.
Well, hopefully they're going to have a mechanics race at the end of this year at Buxton, and hopefully some of you guys can jump in there and have some fun, because those mechanics races are always a lot of fun, seeing where all the different experience and things come from.
Yeah, I've been bugging him for a couple of years now, so I hope eventually he lets me take for a few laps.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you'll get that chance. So now we're gonna turn the page just a little bit. Go-kart racing. I know you didn't start driving racing go-karts right away, but you kind of started hanging out at Route Run Raceway. Talk about go-kart racing a little bit, Caleb.
Yeah, so that picture there is actually my first time racing a kart. That was Kyle Ross's kart. He let me dig it for a few laps during the mechanics race, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't expect that at all. It's definitely a shock when that happened.
So you just showed up to the track, and all of a sudden they're like, "You're racing tonight?"
Pretty much, yeah. It wasn't planned at all. So
Oh, that's amazing. How did you feel about that? Like, were you nervous? Were you excited? What's going through your mind when you're like,
I
"Oh boy"?
definitely nervous, but I didn't know what to expect out there. That's for sure, and I loved it. So that's how we got started.
Well, what was that like? Like your first time on the track? I mean, you take the green and you start flying around there. What was that like for you?
Oh, I was so bad out there. I just had the pedal mashed to the floor, and I thought I was Dale Earnhardt out there.
Oh, sorry, that's awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, sure, it's your first time out there, but I've often said this, that some of the greatest racers I know came from racing go-karts. So that's a great place to start and certainly learn stuff. The neat thing about go-karts, as opposed to full-size stock cars, is all your suspension, your shocks, and your springs, everything's in your tires. And Caleb and I were kind of talking about this a little bit before we got started, how important it is, your tire prep. That's everything's there. Tell us a little bit about that, Caleb. Where'd you learn all that from?
Well, Chris Cuvion really helped me with that, and I kind of took pointers from everybody who wanted to help me. So I learned a lot from Chris. So Chris has been a big help in my career. So I got to give it all up to Chris Cuvion, that's for sure.
Yeah. Chris doesn't live far from where I am. I was mentioning this to you. I've been to his place many times, and man, he spends hours on his tires, and there's a real science behind all that. So
yeah, the most important thing about go-karting is tires. Like, we spend hours and hours and hours a week prepping tires, sizing tires, rolling tires. It's just a full-time job almost.
Yeah. Well, that education is gonna transfer over to when you do jump into a stock car. All that stuff's important. You'll be thinking about all that. So anyway, turn it over to Craig.
So that was like you said, that was your first time in the kart. So did that really kind of put things in motion, and where you're like, yeah, I want to race. Like, I got the bug now, and now I'm ready to go. Let's get something put together here.
Yeah, when I got home from that, I was on the phone all night trying to figure some stuff out. And actually, Rob Klein, Dirt Dog Media, he was actually filming this race, and that's where he got the bug too. He seen me out there, and we kind of were friends from the racetrack, and he kind of mentioned that he thought about buying a cart, and I said, well, if you buy a cart, I'll drive it for you, he says, not thinking really anything of it. And then he started talking on the phone with Cody the Roche and all these Chris Cuvion, and all of a sudden we have a cart in the garage. So
well, we're just going to take a quick commercial break here. We want to get into the whole go-karting story. I was a little bit of a part of that, helping that whole thing come together. So I do want to talk about that, but before we get to that, we're just going to take a quick commercial break for a word from our sponsors. And Circle Track Chatter, sponsored by Elliot and Ashley Wilton of Royal LePage Piper Realty. The fastest realtors around. Call the Wiltons, a house sold name. Thank you very much, the Wiltons, and everybody at Depuis Media Productions for helping us out. Craig Smolders, Rob Young, Circle Track Chatter. We're back here talking to driver of the 33D, Kaleb Dyck. So, Caleb, we got a little bit of an intro here to you, your racing career. before the commercial break, at some point, like you were saying before we went to commercial, Dirt Dog jumps on and wants to put you in the seat of a car. That was really quite a story of how that all came together. So talk a little bit about it. I know you said that you talked to Rob and he said, well, if you buy a cart, I'll drive it or whatever, but talk a little bit about how you kind of realize that, yeah, actually something is actually going to happen here. Like I'm getting a cart to drive.
Yeah, I did. When he said that at first, I didn't really think anything of it because I didn't really know him that well, so I didn't really think much of it. And then all of a sudden, he starts blowing my phone up with all these go-kart stuff, and he obviously was helping with. You're helping him a lot too, Craig, with that kind of stuff, and you're messaging back and forth a lot, and then all of a sudden, there's a cart in the garage. I was like, oh my god, that's actually going to happen.
That's awesome. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, it's just about Rob Klein. I've never seen, and this goes. I say this about you too, Craig. Both you guys are you promote that track and you promote racing. You both really don't have a history of racing, but man, you're out there promoting, and here's and Rob's helping Kaleb get along into racing, and that's what it takes. I mean, you can't do it all on your own. You just need people to help, but it's really cool to see people like Rob Klein and again, like you too, Craig, really out there knocking yourselves out, promoting the sport and talking about it and getting everybody excited and putting even all this together so that we can talk to some of these drivers and learn a little bit more about them. So I'm pretty impressed, but that's a pretty cool looking cart. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to this, but I see you've got the number 33 on there. Where did the number come from?
Well, I'm a big Dale Earnhardt fan, so that's where that kind of came from. Then my stepdad Steve and my uncle Lewis, that kind of brought that
that's great. Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool. Okay, back to you, Craig.
All right. So yeah, as I said, I was talking to Rob and kind of like you said, he sent me a message and said, you know what, I think I'm going to buy a cart. And I just kind of shrugged it off, went, okay. And then the messages kept coming. And then like one Thursday or a Friday, I get a text message and it's like, hey, do you want to go to Bell River and go see Cody and Walt this weekend? Sure, I can make that happen. I kind of had, but no, we got to do it this weekend. Like we have to go right now and get this car. So we go on a snowy day and we go down and see Cody and Walt. And I got to say, I mean, he was so excited. He was all pumped up about putting you in the cart, and he said how pumped you up you were all about it. Talk about a little bit more about that. How now you know the reality is there. You got a cart, but now you gotta put the whole thing together. You want to learn. And all that stuff that goes into all the prep work. Talk about a little bit about that.
Well, the thing is, I didn't know a lot about this prep work. Like these tires are so sensitive to stuff, and I had no idea anything about this kind of stuff. So we took a trip out to Chris Cuvion. He kind of walked me through most of it, and then I talked to Cody a lot too, and Spencer Smolders. They helped me a lot with the tire stuff, and then it just started coming along, and here we are now.
Definitely, Rob. Do you have any questions about that?
Well, it's just something I don't want to forget to ask Kaleb, but on the front of his go-kart, and I know Rusty Gate Motorsports, that's Joel Dyck's sort of hashtag, right?
Yeah.
If you want to call it. So where did Rusty Gate come from? What is that?
What he tells me is he had this farm in Wisley he worked at or lived at, and everything was new, except every gate was rusty. And that just came along, I guess. I don't know. It works, so. Okay.
All right. Well, that didn't know, so now we do. All right. I'll turn it back over to you, Craig.
So you guys got pretty serious about all your go-karting operation and getting some sponsors and stuff like that. And you started working hard, and you definitely are one of the hardest working kart drivers that I've come across. As far as hanging out with people and seeing how you're working, getting things going. But what about, obviously wins are won in the shop, or wins are got in the shop. Talk a little bit about working towards your first win, having some good finishes and what goes into all that.
Well, the funny thing is, before my first win, I never even finished a race before. So it was just a humongous struggle at first. I just wasn't getting the hang of it. And all of a sudden, one Saturday afternoon, we just had it all figured out somehow.
So how were you running then? Like you said, you weren't figuring out. Were you running last? Were you wrecking? Like what were you doing out there?
I had a few nights we were just just wasn't there. And we got wrecked one night, and then we ran fourth. We were running fourth for the majority of the race, and then I just kept spinning out, and it was very frustrating to start off with, and I was getting down on myself, and then it came along on one Saturday afternoon for the Stewie race, and everything just changed from there. We were fast ever since.
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, as far as the driving part of it goes, you said that Chris helped you out with a lot of the chassis and chassis components and whatnot. Is there anybody who helped you with the driving as far as how to drive a go-kart? Anybody you can remember?
I talked to Chris a lot about the driver's part. I was using too much brake, and that's why I kept spinning out and just having trouble in the corners. Once I stopped touching that brake, it's just a humongous difference. And then the steering too, I was oversteering like crazy. It's just small movements out there, and it just helps a lot.
Yep, that's a cool thing. Go-karts, of course, just have rear brakes, and so it's like pulling emergency brake on a car. And
it honestly is, yeah.
They just spin out. But that's it's a good thing to learn to get that feeling, like the seat of the pants feeling of the rear end and the front end through your hands. I think that a go-kart does such a good job of teaching young people all about how a car, full-size car, let alone a go-kart, should handle. So, I mean, that's all I can think of that makes you guys as go-kart racers such good stock car racers. But anyway, back to you, Craig.
How Kaleb, how involved is Dirt Dog in all the prep work and stuff like that? Is he in there wrenching with you, giving you pointers, telling what you're doing wrong? And even if you have a bad night on the track, like how involved is Dirt Dog in all of this stuff?
He's not involved in a lot of mechanical stuff, but he's always there hyping us up, and he's a very good hype man. But he's not involved a lot in mechanical work and prep work. But he's in our corner a lot, always telling us we're doing a good job and all that good stuff. So
yeah. Everywhere you go, if you're with Dirt Dog, he's probably got a phone in his hand, and he's probably going to be coming to you with some sort of a video that he wants to do.
Oh, the camera's always in my face.
I've never seen anything deleted. Have you ever said like, not now, Dirt Dog, like just put it away?
Yeah, when I'm working on tire stuff, and I don't want a lot of people seeing that kind of stuff. So like, I told them like there's gotta be boundaries with the camera around the racing cart, like. Especially with like setup work, like can't be just filming all that stuff all the time.
Definitely. Rob, do you have any questions about any of that?
I'm sure that having Rob around, whether it's you're working on the cart stuff, but even I know it was nice to have guys like Rob around the garage that just keeps the morale up and keeps you laughing while you're working, makes it a lot more fun. But anyway, back to you, Craig.
So Schweeken Speedway, at some point, you guys decided as a team you're gonna go try and run in a Schweeken Speedway. That was last year, your first time there, right? Was it last year?
Last September, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So sort of the same thing as Route 1. You kind of go to that track, but Schweeken is obviously a whole new thing for you. What went into all the prep for all of that?
Yeah, so I had no idea about the gearing or like just the setup at all Schwegen. So I kind of talked to people around. I talked to Chris a lot. He kind of threw me in the ballpark of where I needed to be for gearing. And that we went there and we started off. We were okay, and then I changed some gearing, and then we just came to life. It's a whole different game up there because there's not a whole lot of rules. So these guys are running just these wildest carts, just running the high side, low side, middle. At Route 1, we only had the bottom, so. That's what I was used to. So I was just down there catfishing like Nick Hoffman down there. And we just started passing people and passing guys. I went from 10th to 4th in a heat race. And then we started on the outside pole for the feature race. And I just ran the bottom the whole time. And that was it.
Did the some of the other drivers and some of the other crews, did they come and see you after the races?
No, not really. I don't think they were too happy with me. So came there for their first time from down there, and we just waxed them. So,
Rob, do you have any questions about that?
No. I'm just loving listening to what Kaleb has to say. So back to you.
Yeah, no, it's cool to talk to you here, Kaleb, and see the smile on your face because I talk to Dirt Dog all the time, but hearing it from your perspective is actually pretty cool. As far as go-kart racing, would you like to do a little more traveling? Like, would you like to go into the States and race some of the big races there, or are you pretty well happy here at home?
We're pretty good down here for now. I want to get some more time before I go over there. Like, we're running pretty good down here. I just got to get some more stuff figured out. Hoping next year do a little more traveling. Maybe over the winter go down to some of those indoor races. That'd be kind of cool. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what about the some of the concrete or asphalt races or whatever? Would you like to kind of dabble in that a little bit?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos. It's a whole different driving style down there. It's just so much faster. Just indoor stuff. It's just a whole different game. So I'm not too sure about the asphalt stuff, but there's some of the dirt races down in Kentucky and stuff. Those seem pretty cool.
Yep, for sure. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Nope. I'm just waiting to get to where you ask Kaleb about what he's going to do if he has any plans to go into a full size stock car. So I'll wait till you're all done what you're talking about now.
Well, I mean, I want to stay on the karting because it's nice to see such a young guy, excited about racing and kart racing is, I don't want to say it's cheap or anything like that, but it's a little bit more, I guess, reasonable for some people. So if you're happy there, and I mean, you got a lot of learning to do. You're just a young kid and you've just got into it. And then obviously you want to have Dirt Dog in your corner as well. And now you have another driver there as well, like you have David Dawson. So like talk about all of that and how you guys are trudging along here.
Yeah, so the whole David thing, that was very unexpected. So he helped me a lot last year. He really helped take the load off things for me as a driver. Just kind of sit back after races and think about what needs to be done with the cart and stuff. He really helped out with that. And then over the winter, I don't know, there wasn't really any plans for him to race. He was just happy with crewing. And then I entered a raffle for a cart from West Potosi, not really thinking much of it. And we won it. So we got him a Predator motor, and he loves it now. So,
Oh, that's awesome. And you guys were friends growing up, or you said, right? Or you
yeah,
were friends at some point?
me and Dave have been friends since we were 2 or 3 years old. So,
There. Oh, that works so well. And he's
yeah,
also he's also a licensed mechanic, right?
he's a licensed mechanic. He works at a shop in Kingsville.
Okay. And I don't think we've talked about it yet. What about yourself? What do you do for work?
I'm a forklift mechanic.
Okay. How long have you been a forklift mechanic for?
Just about a year almost.
Nice, nice. And you're doing okay with that?
Oh yeah, I like it. It's something different every day, traveling around the county and stuff. So I'm not just stuck in one place in a shop. I like to travel around. So
Okay. Rob, do you have any questions about any of the karting stuff before we move on to the future of Kaleb Dyck Racing?
Well, not that, but he did he mentioned about being a forklift mechanic, and he works for Levitt Machinery in Bell River. But I can see how that would go hand in hand as far as the mechanical stuff is concerned. Because I mean, forklifts, although there's a lot of hydraulic stuff and whatnot, but there's a lot of little intricate things that I could see being a mechanic like that would help you with the go-kart stuff. So it's always good to know where somebody, what their career is and where they work, whether they're a mechanic or whatnot. But it's cool that Kaleb is doing something that I can see would transfer over. But anyway, back to you, Craig.
So sorry, I just want to go back to the karting just for a little bit. You have you've got some wins. What about what's one win that maybe just stands right out for you that you're just like, wow, I can't believe I pulled that off, or however it all came together for you?
this picture we're looking at right now, this is probably one of my most favorite wins. That was the first one at Route 1. Just I said before, we weren't very good before, and that was doubleheader the night before. We were just ferocious, and I didn't expect I think we won both heats and led every lap of the feature race. So
Very
then,
good. All right. So as far as oh, sorry, what was that? Go ahead.
yeah, they've never won that the Thanksgiving Throwdown win last year, the Friday night win. It was a pretty rough night to start off the night. I think we lost a clutch, and then something else happened, and something else. We started 5th or 6th in the feature race, and got the second, and then spun myself out, and then I had to come back to the field again. And I got past Brett Hope with like 5 to go, and we just took off after that. And we were fast the next day too. I think we won the dash that night. And then we were that was a good weekend that was.
Very good, very good. So I guess that kind of does it right now. We're kind of all caught up with the go-kart racing for now. As far as any kind of racing for you, Kaleb, what would be the future for you? What would you like to see yourself in?
I like to get the Thunderstock eventually in the next couple of years, but it's just, yeah, I like the go-kart's good for now. The Thunderstock that's the idea. Because there's just you can travel so much throughout the province with the same rule package. And the competition's just so awesome throughout the province. So
what is it? What is it about like Thunderstock racing besides like the competition? But I mean, is it a car thing? You like the way they kind of handle around the track? I'm just wondering why you say a Thunderstock as opposed to a modified or a late model.
I just think it's so competitive, and then the cars you gotta build yourself. You can't just buy parts off the shelf off All Star or whatever. It's just there's a lot more technology. There's not technology, but a lot more mechanical skills with a Thunderstock, I think.
For sure. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, certainly that's even though he's surrounded with a lot of talent from the modified division, but that's a great place to start, that Thunderstock division. And I'll tell you, there was a number of years ago I was right against it because I didn't think there was any more of those out there. But Steve Shaw is he's the godfather of bringing the Thunderstock division and the Camaros and all that to South Buxton. And he's even though, as I said, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I sure am now. Boy, a lot of really competitive. You see a lot of young guys like Kaleb get into that and really excel. So it's really fun to see that. You know, we spoke with Travis Whittle a couple of weeks ago, and he did the same thing, and he runs well in a Thunderstock. But boy, I can't wait. I know that Kaleb's doing well in his go-kart racing and stuff like that, but can't wait to see him in a Thunderstock. So good luck to you when you do that. But and I'll be there. I'll be there watching. Back to you, Craig.
Have you been in a Thunderstock at all yet?
I haven't. I've never been in a full body car before, so I'm hoping next couple of years I get a shot. I know Joel's been teasing me a little bit about getting in the modified for practice night or something. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, he'll let me hop in.
Yeah, that would be pretty incredible to see out there. I know we were there for Travis Whittle's first time in Thunderstock on the track, and that was pretty cool to experience that with him. So if you ever get a chance at a ride, I hope we're out there to experience that for your first time when you're out on the track. Now, as far as if money's no object and you can go anywhere and do anything you want, what's the dream race for Kaleb Dyck?
Super late model, obviously. Dirt super late model. That's the dream, man.
Yeah, and what about a race? Do you have one that you really want to do?
Eldora, either the Row 100 or the Dream.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the World Series as far as racing goes, isn't it?
Eldora is my favorite place in the world. That track is just so above and beyond any other dirt track around this area, at least. And honestly, it's the mecca center of dirt racing in the country, so in North America. So,
yeah, absolutely. Rob, do you have any questions about that?
Well, it is. I know that Kaleb had a chance to meet Scott Bloomquist, which is, we just lost Scott this past week, and he was a legend in super late model stock car racing. But it's when you watch guys like Scott, it makes you really want to be a late model driver. And of course, Eldora is that's the place you want to go. But that's really something to shoot for. You got to start somewhere with the go-karts and into Thunderstocks and who knows, maybe modified and on the late model. But I'm really glad to hear you say that would be your dream, is to go and run at Eldora in a super late model, because that'd be really cool to see you do that too. So I'll be watching you.
It's actually a really cool story how I met Scott Bloomquist. I went down for the Dream on the Thursday night. I had to work Thursday. I'm going to meet my buddy Cody Vanderwinkle and Jeremy. And the races were over at that point. They were just having beers up by the concert up top. And we were just standing there shooting the shit and stuff. And all of a sudden I look over at Scott Bloomquist and Kyle Strickler standing right there beside me. So that was really cool to meet them, especially now since we lost them on Friday.
Yeah.
I look back on that now, and it means a lot more now than it did when I first met them. So
yeah, I saw that picture, and I thought, boy, that'll be something you'll be able to hold on to for a long time. That's pretty neat.
He's just a pioneer of the sport. So
Yep. Back to you, Craig.
Would you say that Scott would be like your favorite dirt driver or favorite driver period, or?
Probably not all time, but I appreciate what Scott's done for dirt racing. So I can just see what he's done and just appreciate that. But I wouldn't say he's my favorite driver. I'm more of like a Tyler Erb kind of guy. Just balls to the wall out there and just let her hang. So that's what I like out there.
Yeah, for sure. What about other disciplines of racing? Are you into like NASCAR racing at all?
Yeah, I watch NASCAR pretty frequently. Yeah, I'm a big Kyle Larson fan, of course. So from being a dirt guy.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Before Kyle Larson comes along, are you a fan of anybody else? I think I saw Dale Earnhardt there
Yeah,
behind you.
I'm a Earnhardt guy. I love Dale Jr. I never get to watch Dale Senior race, but I can appreciate what he did back in the day, and I watched a lot of film from him racing. So I'm a big Earnhardt guy.
Yeah, I mean, we're all fortunate that we have YouTube and other things that we can use now for watching the old videos and stuff like that, so we can see some of our favorite drivers. Rob, do you have any questions about any of that?
Nope. Other than Kaleb, I watch you. You carry yourself very well at the racetrack. You're the kind of guy that would really that young kids would look up to you. Not only as a race car driver, but you're a fine young man. I know you come from a good family. You know your mom and of course the Clements as well. And I just think you've got yourself surrounded by all the right people. When it comes to you advancing your career, having all those people and all that knowledge, you're going to go a long way in racing. So again, I look forward to watching you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Rob.
Do you, I was, sorry, I had a question there in mind and now I just kind of completely forgot about it. But obviously it takes a lot of work and effort to get to the track each and every week, especially in kart racing and other forms of racing. Do you have anybody out there that you wanna thank?
Yeah, I want to thank all these good sponsors here. Dirt Dog, of course. If it wasn't for Dirt Dog, I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. So, yeah, Ed Carley helps out quite a bit. He's come on last year. Of course, Chris Cuvion, he's just. If it wasn't for Chris, I would be a backmarker driver, definitely. Tiny Pratt, he's a good help too. Bowman's Feed and Flies, they actually sponsored my stepdad Steve when he raced back in the day, so I'm glad they came on. Joel Dyck at Rustigate Motorsports, he's always in my corner, always cheering me on. Bono Built Manufacturing was one of my first sponsors. Tom Dick Farms, he's an awesome dude. One of the best guys out there. My dad, he's been a big supporter of mine my whole life too. Dean makes the best wraps around, of course. Little Hills Coffee Shop, they're best breakfast in Wheatley. So then my buddy at Old Crow Manufacturing, he's a big help too. And Justin Coulter, I've watched him race my whole career, my whole life. So I'm glad to have him in my go-kart as well. Of course, all my crew guys, I can't forget to thank them. Mackay Buchanan, Jordan Clausen, Mark DeWall, Ruben Berg, Colin Harris, Travis Whittle, Rob Klein, of course, Cassidy Ashley, big help too. Toby Friesen, Jake Tricker, Hayden Poisson. I gotta thank all those guys. They're always a big help with the racetrack. So,
yes, sir, absolutely. Well, we know quite a bit more now about Kaleb Dyck. Before we let you off the hook here, is there anything that you forgot to mention, or anything you wanna talk about here before that you might have forgot about?
I think we're good. I just gotta appreciate the opportunity to come on the show. It's a fun time to spread my story. So.
Yeah, like I was saying to Rob before you came on, you're one of the more interesting personalities that we have around the pit area, and it's always great to see you out and about and seeing you all the things that you do, helping get the drivers on the track and then getting on the track yourself. Rob, do you have anything else for Kaleb?
No, other than again, it's always nice to talk to these young guys that at his age, 22 years old, man, he's just getting started and he knows so much. He's a pleasure to talk to, and he's very knowledgeable. So it's again nice to talk to you, Kaleb.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we wish you the best of luck moving forward, the rest of the 2024 season, and then wherever 2025 finds you. You can see Kaleb Dyck and the 33D Dirt Dog Media team out at Route 1 Raceway this coming Friday. They'll be racing there this Friday. What can we expect out of you there this coming Friday, Kaleb?
I'll be up front. That's all I'm going to say.
You're going to start out front and stay there?
That's the plan. I don't
go there. The right attitude.
I don't go there to finish second. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks again, Kaleb Dyck, for joining us. And like I said, best of luck in the 2024 season. We can't wait to be out there and see what you got going on. And thank you very much for joining us on Circle Track Chatter.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Enjoy your night.
You too.
Well, there you go, Rob. We know a little bit more about Kaleb Dyck. What'd you think of all that?
Well, as I said, it's always really cool to talk to these young guys. Well, I mean, we talk to some older guys too, but here's somebody who's just getting started, and you can when he does go to a full size stock car. I mean, I can't wait to see that. But you got somebody you know a little bit about him. He grew up in Wheatley. As I said, he works for a lift truck company there in Bell River. You know a little bit about his family. You know who's behind him, and that all when you see him out there winning, you know that okay. And just what he said there, his attitude. He's got the right attitude. I'm not just going to go out there and I'm not just going to be part of the show. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be up front. I'm gonna run up front. I'm gonna be a winner. That's the attitude I like to hear right there.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, you know what's great about this program is we see people. I mean, you're the same. You see all these people running around that pit area, but everybody's so busy that you don't necessarily have enough time to sit and talk to them and kind of learn their story. So they get to jump on here for an hour and tell us all about it, which is just amazing. And we learn so much about these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I know we do it. It's every couple weeks now, but I think as time goes on, we have enough people that and we'll try and get a good variety. But let everybody know about these local guys and what they're doing. And I'm kind of just along for the ride. You guys run the show here, but I'm glad you let me be a part of it. So I appreciate that.
Well, let me turn that back around to you, and I appreciate you jumping on here because I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, and I'm very limited in my mechanical knowledge. So you jump in there. Plus, you've been around for a while, so you know the older drivers. So it all works out. Whether it's a $1 million production or just a shoestring budget like we're running on here, we have a lot of fun with it, and it's great to hear the stories. And we appreciate everything that you're doing to help us out as well, Rob.
Yep, you're doing a great job, Craig. Promote the sport and I mentioned Rob Klein as well. I mean, you two guys are knocking yourself out, and I don't know. I mean, you promote our local track, good or bad. There's always something to talk about, and I'm sure that with all past the events that we've had in the last little while, that we could have a 3-hour show if we want to, and not just talk about the drivers, but anyway, it's fun. And sometimes we shouldn't talk about all that, but anyway, one of these days we will.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. We're definitely not limited to the local drivers. Obviously, it just works out because we're always at Buxton Speedway. That's the area, but we're not limited to local drivers. So if you fans out there watching, or you drivers, if you want to get on here, and even if you just want to thank your sponsors for a few minutes and tell a couple of stories, that's okay. If you race at Brighton or Maryville, Oshweekend, wherever, even up north, Thunder City, Emo Speedway, some of those speedways, we want to hear from you. There's all kinds of stories. And also as far as pit crews, like we just talked to Kaleb a little bit there, but any crew members that want to jump on here, we're all about the stories. So don't be afraid to reach out to us, jump on here, and we'll have a quick chat with you and figure out where you're planning on going in the future. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again on Circle Track Chatter, presented this week by the Wiltons. My name is Craig Smolders. That over there is Rob Young. We just had a great chat with Kaleb Dyck. We will be back in 2 weeks. We will be announcing the guest in a couple of days here, but we will be back in 2 weeks live on Circle Track Chatter and on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. This coming weekend, unfortunately, we're not going to be at Buxton Speedway. We have some other things that we have to do, some prior commitments as well. So we won't be out at Buxton Speedway this coming weekend for the live stream. We're going to do some other things. So unfortunately, I will post that on the Facebook page as well. But we want to wish everybody at Buxton Speedway the best of luck, all the competitors. We hope everybody's going to have a good, safe weekend and safe driving out there. And Rob, you have anything to add to that?
Yep, I have another commitment. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there, but I'll be thinking about all you guys and girls, and hope you have a safe racing weekend and have lots of fun.
Yep, absolutely. And we have our autograph night coming up the 2 next week, so we will definitely be on hand for that. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us live from Circle Track Chatter. Rob Young, Craig Smolders, Angela Young-Bonner back there in the production studio, and we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.